wanting to be a mother and then having the realization that it was not becoming evident the first year, the third year, the fifth year, the 10th year, the 15th year. It was at times devastating.
What do you say to your folks? We're trying. There was a lot of guilt. Lord, are you punishing us? Kind of thing. You said be fruitful and multiply, and you always had a desire to be a parent. What's going on?
Doctors couldn't tell us anything. Specialists couldn't tell us anything.
When they would read about barren women and wondering, like, is this me, Lord? Did you shut my womb? And did I do something? It was like all trying to figure out the why.
I would go from high levels of faith and low levels of hope. High levels of hope and low levels of faith. Are we going to be like Abraham and Sarah, Lord? And that's where I was like, okay, I guess we just won't have children. I guess that's where we'll be.
It took a long time to get to this place where we said, Lord, if your desire for us not to have kids, we trust you. Adoption wasn't like this all of a sudden we got to an adoption way of thinking. No, adoption kind of became a part of we can do biological, we can adopt, we can do biological, we can adopt. So we always kept that. We didn't pursue anything with it. We just kept it in mind.
We talked about it, we prayed about it, and we said, if you desire for us to have a child and or children, we say yes. If you say no, then you'll help us to be content.
Yep. We were in a place of just waiting on what he said. That was it.
One night we were walking, we have a river walk, and we were talking, and he said to me, I believe the Lord is saying that we should pursue adoption. And I said, really? He said, yeah. I said, well, let's go. The next day, our pastor called us and he says, hey guys, sorry to call so late. Just want to know, I sort of already presented you to an organization called Radiance Foundation about adoption. Ari is on the phone, so Ari starts laughing. He was like, only the Holy Spirit can do that.
One of the things that we are deeply convicted about here at our church is the sanctity of human life. And in addition to being a pastor of our local church, I'm also on the board for the Radiance Foundation, and I learned about the Adopted and Loved Fund through the Radiance Foundation. And so in learning about this, I thought, man, this is a perfect match.
When we got that call, I'm like, okay, this is a God thing, man. Only God could have spoken that to me on our walk and then speak it to our pastor to where he would make the move, call us, and I tell him, funny thing, we was actually about to tell you all we were interested and we was going to seek prayer for it at Thursday night prayer meetings. And so I was like, okay, Lord, I don't know what you're doing, but we got confirmation that this is a go. You look at that cost and you go, I can't do this, but I can't rest my faith on what I can't do. I have to rest my faith on what the Lord has told me to do. Once Quinette and I made the decision to say, we believe this is what you want us to do, Lord, then we was like, we're going to trust that you're going to deliver these finances. Being recipients of the Adopted and Loved grant was a boost of hope. That was like, really? Like, we didn't even know the amount. We didn't even care.
It was an answer to prayer. It was unbelievable. I remember that call. It was just like, oh my goodness, we got it. We got it. It meant everything. It was about 10, somewhere between 10 and 10:30, I believe, at night. And our caseworker called and I answered. She called my phone, so I answered. I said, hi, how are you? And she said, are you ready? And I said, ready for? And she said, are you ready? And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And she said, are you ready? And I said, what? What? Wait. I said, don't play with me. And she said, I would never do that to you, Quinette. And I was like, oh my word. And then she says, you guys have a beautiful baby girl.
Hey, Ryan, this is Ari Tukes. I wanted to call and give you a great update.
Nothing could have prepared me for the moment when I was able to hold her in my arms and say, she's mine. Like the Lord gave her to us. When I laid eyes on her, I was like, Hannah, the favor and grace of God. I've never experienced anything like that in my life. And I was so grateful. I was so grateful for the people that have walked this journey with us. I was so grateful to the Lord. I was so grateful. I was humbled. And it was like nothing I could ever describe. The way that the Lord has carried us through the first 20 years of our marriage has prepared us to be the parents that we are now. It's been hard, but it's been worth it.
I'm so grateful now, looking back, this is what the journey was about. This is what the wait was for. This is what some of those times when we had tears, some of those times when we had our faith was up, then it was down, and then learning how to wait and trust God. That's what we got out of all of this, was waiting, trusting God. No matter what, we wasn't gonna get ahead of God. He is faithful. If he tell you he gonna do it, he gonna do it.
The Adopted and Loved Fund fills a gap because, unfortunately, private adoptions are very, very expensive. And so when you have potential families that would love to open their homes to an image bearer of God, but you have that impediment in terms of cost, having that fund available is one of the things that I believe strongly that God has provided to allow people to follow him in the mission to open their homes, to be stewards over their resources, but also to shepherd the soul of a young one who by God's grace will be another arrow in the quiver of the Lord, a part of his heritage that'll ultimately be fellow warriors standing shoulder to shoulder, contending with the enemy to beat back the gates of darkness.
Don't give up. There's hope. What the Adopted and Love Fund did for our family, it has the same potential to do that for your family.